90% of Rwanda's population belongs to the Hutu tribe. About 9% are Tutsi. The tribes often intermarry, but rivalries have simmered, especially since Belgian colonial rulers in the early 20th century gave political authority to the Tutsi minority. By 1994, a Hutu regime has been in power for many years. Some Tutsis have threatened rebellion, and the government has responded by calling all Tutsis rebels. The government has fueled a campaign of hate, preaching violence against Tutsis. State-controlled radio stations call for the extermination of the Tutsi. And in April, it begins. The grave is only half full, one radio station declares. Who will help us to fill it? Thousands of murderers help in an unspeakable frenzy that lasts 100 days. Government troops participate. So do armed Hutu gangs that have been issued weapons for the purpose. Weapons are sometimes crude. Machetes, axes, nail-studded clubs, and blunt instruments. Some attackers use firearms. But the helpless Tutsi and those Hutu who oppose the government often have nothing more than rocks. Laws and poverty have kept the victims from getting weapons to defend themselves. The Minister of Defense controls permits for weapons and keeps a registry of those few people allowed to possess firearms. The Minister of Defense is also the chief organizer of the nationwide killing campaign. If victims can find or make weapons equal to those of their attackers, then they stand a chance of surviving. In Kigali province, civilians huddle in a church compound. Using rocks, bows and arrows, and a single gun seized from a dead soldier, they hold off attackers for a week. Eventually, they are overwhelmed by troops wielding grenades. 5,500 die. In one town, the mayor urges villagers to disarm, saying the police will protect them. When they refuse, he orders police to shoot them. The war of rocks against bullets in that town lasts 3 days. In the end, 20,000 townspeople are massacred. Across Rwanda, tens of thousands hide in schools and churches. They are besieged and beaten or shot to death. To catch people trying to escape the killing, roadblocks are set up throughout the country. Soldiers check national ID cards. Unarmed, defenseless people whose cards identify them as Tutsi are slaughtered, man, woman, and child. Merely to be who you are is punishable by death. But of course these horrors struck other people far away. People who are different from us. Countries that are different from ours. Surely it can't happen here. The United States, at its best, is a great nation. Yet here, too, people can become powerless targets. They may suffer simply for being who they are. It is the 19th century. Up to 4 million Americans are slaves, entirely without rights. 250,000 free blacks live among them. Many work to outlaw slavery. A spirit of rebellion grows, and among the white majority, fear grows. Maintaining total control of slaves becomes an obsession. America's earliest disarmament laws are designed to keep one race, and one race only, helpless. Slaves rise in rebellion. Tension increases, and states pass even more laws to control blacks. In 1865, the North wins the war between the states, ending slavery forever. 3 years later, the 14th Amendment extends full citizenship and equal legal protection to the former slaves. That is, the law extends equal protection in theory. When states can no longer pass laws like this, they pass laws like these instead to keep guns out of the hands of poor blacks. Disarmament does not bring peace or safety, certainly not to blacks. Between 1880 and 1965, mobs lynch nearly 3,500 black people. Sometimes for serious crimes, sometimes for mere insults against whites. So-called respectable citizens snatch defenseless men from jails or from the streets. They abuse, torture, mutilate, and kill their victims. Yet defensive power sometimes prevails. In Columbia, South Carolina, a 14-year-old girl stops a lynch mob from seizing a prisoner by holding the mob at bay with a revolver she doesn't even know how to shoot. Today, lynchings are a thing of the past, but some things never change. Purchase a gun from a licensed dealer, and even now you must reveal your race.